This week on ATV News, a historically black church was burned and vandalized, a Rolling Stone reporter is found guilty of defamation, and millions of people checked in at Standing Rock on Facebook to protest the Dakota Access Pipeline. I'm Savannah McCann.
And I'm Nadia Slocum. ATV News starts now.
A new study co-sponsored by the UN tested a hormonal birth control shot for men that effectively prevented pregnancy in their female partners. Tests were conducted worldwide in 320 healthy men aged 18 to 45. A combination of hormones were used to essentially shut down testosterone production to lower fertility. This method was 96% effective, comparable to other methods of contraception. But the study was cut short. 20 men dropped out of the study because of side effects including various pains and mood swings, and even more serious side effects such as depression and an irregular heartbeat. This study brought into question the safety of hormonal birth control methods for both genders.
It seems as if Donald Trump hasn't been the only man partaking in locker room talk this season. It has been recently confirmed that the Harvard men's soccer team has been suspended for the remainder of the season, after news has circulated about some vulgar and sexist emails having been found connected back to the team. The suspension follows a story by the Harvard Crimson, the university's student newspaper, revealing that in 2012, the soccer team has circulated a scouting report on the new freshman recruits for the women's soccer team. The document is part of an annual tradition and describes the female players in graphic and frequently degrading terms. The team will be forfeiting its remaining games in this season and will not be participating in the Ivy League Championship or the NCAA tournament. Harvard's president, Drew Foss, said in a statement Thursday that, quote, the decision to cancel a season is serious and consequential, and that both the team's behavior and its failure to forthcome when initially questioned are completely unacceptable and runs counter to the mutual respect that is a core value of the Harvard community. As the case continues to unfold, we look forward to hearing the testimonies of those women who were subjected to this ridiculous act. For the latest in entertainment news, let's go to Penny Commit.
Thanks, Nadia. I'm Penny Commit, and I'll be bringing you the latest entertainment headlines from this week. This past Wednesday, Carrie Underwood and Brad Paisley hosted the 50th Country Music Awards once again. The show began with the show-stopping performance of retired artists such as Reba and Alan Jackson singing some of the greatest country songs throughout the years. The CMAs also spiced things up by having current pop icon Beyoncé perform with one of country music's oldest bands, the Dixie Chicks. In terms of awards, Chris Stapleton made a big showing. Last year was his first year in the country music industry, and he won New Artist of the Year, and then went on this year to win Male Vocalist of the Year, shockingly passing up big names such as Tim McGraw, Keith Urban, and Eric Church. Stapleton came home with 2 trophies, as he was also awarded Best Music Video of the Year for his song Fire Away. In addition, fan favorite Die a Happy Man by Thomas Rhett won Single of the Year, and oldie Garth Brooks took home the award for Entertainer of the Year. Speaking of country singers, Blake Shelton experienced his fair share of wedding rumors this week. Us Weekly reported that Shelton and suspected fiancée Gwen Stefani are starting to finalize wedding plans and have already began meeting with vendors. Although the duo has not confirmed their engagement, multiple reputable sources have told reporters that they plan to be married by the end of the year. In other music news, pop artist Alicia Keys has dropped her first album in 4 years. Her newest 16-track album, entitled Here, was released on Friday, November 4th. Keys claims that the album was meant to comment on affairs of the heart, mind, and soul, with specific attention given to dissecting some of the issues Keys sees in her everyday life. The album also includes 5 interludes throughout that capture spoken poetry, in-studio chatter with some of Alicia's famous friends. The album is an incredible combination of acoustic ballads, hip-hop tracks, powerful raps, and even a feature with A$AP Rocky. Well, that's all for this week in entertainment news. I'm Penny Commit. Now back to Savannah and Nadia in the studio.
Thanks, Penny. Did you watch the CMAs this Thursday?
I did. It was amazing. Seeing Beyoncé come to the CMAs was just a dream come true, honestly.
The idea of mixing pop and country together, that's just a whole new different thing. I wonder what they're going to do next year.
I have no idea, but I'm so excited to find out.
We'll just have to see.
The decades-old disappearance of the renowned Amelia Earhart came back into the news this week. New discoveries from the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery state that Earhart's bones may have actually been found on an island as early as 1940. When British officials discovered the human remains decades ago, they were disregarded by a physician who believed they belonged to a stocky man. More recent tests show that the physician might have been wrong because he failed to take into account Earhart's above-average height. The International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery is still trying to solidify the evidence and end the mystery surrounding the female pilot's disappearance. Now, let's go to politics with Elise Metcalf.
Thanks, Savannah. Welcome to ATV Politics. I'm Elise Metcalf. With just days to go before the election, the candidates have entered the final stretch of the presidential race, both campaigns working overtime to increase voter turnout. This weekend, both candidates are scheduled to visit the battleground states for a final get-out-to-vote push. The latest polls released by the Washington Post and ABC News shows Clinton up by 46 to 44 points, giving her a narrow 2-point edge over Trump. Clinton faced more email controversies this week after FBI Director James Comey announced that new emails had been found that could relate to Clinton's private server case. Many have criticized his choice of timing and lack of complete information, including President Obama, who said in an interview, "We don't operate on leaks, we operate based on concrete decisions that are made." News emerged on Thursday that the emails were found on the laptop of Anthony Weiner, the disgraced congressman who resigned earlier this year following sexting allegations. On a lighter note, according to American radio journalist Ken Rudin, the Cubs' victory of MLB World Series this Wednesday may have just predicted the outcome of the election. Apparently, past evidence shows that when the National League team wins, Democrats win the White House. We'll just have to wait this one out and see if the theory holds come Tuesday the 8th. That's it this week for politics. For ATV News, I'm Elise Metcalf. Back to Nadia and Savannah in the studio.
Thanks, Elise. I can't believe that the election is so close, only a few days away.
I want it to be over.
I'm ready, but I don't know. It's getting pretty close, nearing the end here between Trump and Clinton. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm excited to find out.
I just hope that the right candidate wins.
Me too.
In Philadelphia this past week, local news has been covering one of the most torturous weeks for residents this year, and frankly, one of the most ongoing strikes that this nation has seen in a while. On Tuesday, over 4,900 workers from the SEPTA transportation system went on strike, thus canceling their services until a change in their working statements were executed. This is their first strike since 2014, when President Obama himself had to intervene via executive order, and their 10th since 1977, making SEPTA America's most strike-prone transit agency. The strike resulted from failed negotiations between the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transit Authority and the Transportation Workers Union. For months now, both parties have been negotiating wages, pensions, and working conditions. Due to a lack of compromise, a strike was proposed and has been implemented since Tuesday. The strike began Tuesday at midnight as SEPTA was forced to shut down many buses, trolleys, and subways. This will affect the system's 400,000 daily riders, including 60,000 school children. Commuters have been scrambling all week trying to find alternative routes to travel. Democratic city leaders are worried that if the city's buses, trolleys, and subways remain idle through Election Day, some voters won't get to the polls because of having to spend so much time getting to work. Pennsylvania is a battleground state, and the Democratic vote in Philadelphia is critically important, especially how it plays in terms of the outcome of Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, as she battles Republican candidate Donald Trump. SEPTA's chairman claims that if a compromise is not set forward before Tuesday, the strike will be halted in order to give people the transportation needed to get to the polls.
Let's go to sports with Mariah Espada.
Thanks, Savannah. I'm Mariah Espada, and here's what's happening in sports. This past week was an eventful and historic time for the athletic world. On Sunday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 29-23 in overtime. Many eyes were on Dak Prescott, who let the Cowboys down the field, going 5 for 5 for 56 yards and getting a touchdown on the overtime drive. This game leaves the Eagles to fall 4-3 and remain in playoff contention. Just 4 days after the Cowboys' victory, the Atlanta Falcons defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was their dominant offense that led the Falcons team totaling in 464 yards and scoring at least 10 points in each quarter. Atlanta now improves to 6-3 and has a firm grasp on the NFC South lead, while the Buccaneers fall 3-5. And for the biggest news this week, baseball history was made. The Chicago Cubs won the 2016 World Series when defeating the Cleveland Indians 8-7. Ben Zobrist added to the Cubs' victory when he was named the 2016 World Series MVP. Naturally, with the Cubs having not won the World Series for over a century, Zobrist was the first Cubs player to win the award. After an incredible game, the Cubs captured the World Series title that evaded them for more than a century. This is their third championship, but their first since 1908. 2016 will be remembered as the magical year in which the drought was finally ended. Congratulations to the Chicago Cubs, the Windy City, and to all their fans. That's it for sports. I'm Mariah Espada. Back to Savannah and Nadia at the desk.
Thanks, Mariah.
Oh my gosh, the Cubs, they really deserve to win. If only my Philly teams could get their lives together.
I know, I'm from Pittsburgh and I feel the same way, but honestly, I'm glad to see the Cubs win. 108 years is a long time.
They definitely deserve the win.
It's crazy to see how families have come together from generations of Cubs fans and finally seeing that victory. Like, it was so exciting to see everyone so excited and come together as a city.
I bet they're excited for next year, there's a lot at stake to win next year, casually.
A reporter from the popular magazine Rolling Stone has been found guilty of defamation over an article about an alleged rape at the University of Virginia. The article in question was retracted after major inconsistencies were found in the misrepresentations of a UVA administrator and the story's heavy reliance on anecdotes instead of facts. The jury has yet to assess damages, but concluded that the statements were defamation because they were made with actual malice. Rolling Stone released an apology statement following the verdict.
A woman who appeared to have won a life-changing $42.9 million jackpot in a New York City casino is threatening to sue after being told the big payout she was shown was simply the result of a malfunction. Katrina Bookman was playing the penny slot machine at Resorts World Casino in August when it displayed a message that read, "Printing cash ticket for $42.9 million. But when Bookman tried to collect her winnings, the casino told her it was all a big mistake. Officials claimed that the machine had previously been sent out for repairs and then returned to the casino floor soon before Bookman had played. The owner of the casino claimed that because of the machine's malfunctions, Bookman was only owed the $2.25 balance. The New York State Gaming Commission investigated Bookman's case and said that the large sum was not possible because that machine would only allow her to win a maximum payout of $6,500. In all reality, Bookman actually did not win anything. The single mother of 4 children hoped to be able to use her large payout to buy a home and to invest in the future of her children. All that the casino offered Bookman was a porterhouse steak meal as compensation, which she then refused. She is now suing the casino in order to receive the machine's $6,500 payout and maybe a little bit more.
For this week's finance report, we turn to Elizabeth Holmes.
Thanks, Savannah. I'm Liz Holmes with this week's finance report. Remember how Britain decided to leave the EU last June? Well, after that decision, the value of the pound is at a 30-year low. This past week, the High Court in London ruled that only Parliament has the authority to trigger Article 50 of the European Union Treaty, which is how Britain will leave the EU. Though it is unlikely that Parliament will go against the previous vote, this new uncertainty may hurt the value of the pound even more because Brits and foreigners are unsure of their future, which may lead to a more destabilized market. In the States, things are significantly more stable. The Bureau of Labor Statistics released October's jobs report this past Friday, and unemployment has fallen to just a bit, 4.9%. This is very low, less than half of the unemployment rate in 2009, and adds a 73rd month to Obama's streak of positive employment gains. In addition, wages grew 3% this month, the highest rate in years, which is great news for working students. The Federal Reserve decided not to raise interest rates this month, most likely because they wanted still economic waters for the election in a few days. But this does mean that they will likely raise interest rates in December. While this may seem like a bad thing, because who wants to pay more money for their loans, this actually means that our economy is doing really well. The Federal Reserve is planning to slowly increase interest rates, think around 1/4 percentage point at a time, so that if the market struggles in the future, like back in 2008, there's a safety net to lower interest rates and stimulate the economy. Finally, in the stock markets this week, The Nasdaq fell and closed at 5,046 points. The S&P 500 fell and closed at 2,085 points, and the Dow Jones Industrial also fell and closed at 17,888 points. That's This Week in Finance. I'm Liz Holmes. Now back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Liz. How exciting that the unemployment rates are dropping.
I hope that is near to non-existent once we graduate. I need a job to pay those loans.
I do too. Let's go to the world of money to world news with Grace Loudon.
Thanks, Savannah. I'm Grace Loudon with your World News Report. The Calais jungle, a refugee and migrant encampment close to Calais, France, has been declared successfully closed by French authorities. Many living in the camp were trying to enter the UK through the port of Calais or the Eurotunnel. However, charities and volunteers at the encampment say there are still more than 1,000 people remaining at the camp, including hundreds of children. Those who did leave created a makeshift camp outside a Paris metro stop before being transported to 78 housing shelters in the Paris region and elsewhere in France. On Thursday, Iraqi special forces entered the outskirts of Mosul for the first time in their fight to drive ISIS out of the city. Troops broke through the Islamic State defense to reach the eastern district of al-Zahara and have declared it 90% under their control. On Friday, the first convoy of vehicles carrying hundreds of Mosul civilians arrived at a safe camp east of the city. The UN has expressed concern for the estimated 1.5 million civilians living in Mosul, and the UN Human Rights Council has recently provided more evidence of human rights violations taking place in and around the city. China's advancement to the world's second largest economy has changed the country's military requirements. The J-20, China's new stealth fighter, is being called the poster child of China's efforts to expand and modernize its defense capabilities. According to Stockholm International Peace Research, China has been able to afford a 10% average annual increase in defense spending over the past quarter century. The J-20 is a result of this increase in defense spending, and the plane was debuted in Airshow China on Tuesday. That's This Week in World News. I'm Grace Loudon. Back to Savannah and Nadia in the studio.
Thanks, Grace.
China has been a very large world power since the beginning of time, and the idea that they're going to be the second largest economy is going to be really, really interesting.
It really is to see how much they have been such a superpower and how they're still growing. It really is amazing to see their economy grow like this.
They've been the first with the majority of our advancements now in technology and medicine and everything like that.
Right.
The Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church in Greenville, Mississippi was burned and vandalized with pro-Donald Trump graffiti late Tuesday night. Officials say that along with igniting flames, someone had spray painted the words "Vote Trump" along the side of the building. Delta Daily News reports that the majority of the damage was to the main sanctuary and that there were no reported injuries. Greenville Mayor Eric Simmons called the incident, quote, "an attack on the black church and the black community." Because it is an African American church, the FBI is working with local, state, and federal law enforcement partners to determine if any civil rights crimes were committed. Police Chief Delonda Wilson said that although there are no suspects yet, police are interviewing witnesses and talking to a person of interest to try to determine who did the hate crime as well as what their intentions were. Wilson said police are investigating whether or not the fire was intended to intimidate voters, but he then said it was too soon to tell. A GoFundMe page was started up Wednesday, and the church has already received close to $87,000 to rebuild and repair. The police department will be furthering their investigation as soon as new information is received. Now for our weather report, we go to Cordelia.
Thanks, Nadia. I'm Cordelia James with your weekly weather forecast. I hope everyone in DC loves their vitamin D because chances are you'll be soaking up a lot of it. This week is sure to be sunny, especially on Tuesday with a high of 68 degrees during the day and a low of 48 degrees in the evening. Perfect voting weather if you ask me, so if you still haven't cast your ballot yet, be sure to hit the polls. The rest of the week is sure to maintain this sunny disposition up until Friday, with gusts of wind reaching 29 miles per hour during the day. Even though the sun is sure to make an appearance, don't let it fool you. Having a jacket on hand will be a good idea. Our sunny streak comes to an end on Saturday with a high of 59 degrees and a low of 41 degrees with a 67% chance of rain scattered throughout the day. That's it for your weekly weather forecast. I'm Cordelia James. Back to Savannah and Nadia at the desk.
Thanks, Cordelia. I can't wait until fall actually feels like fall. It should not be 85 degrees, 81 degrees, or even 72. What happened to 59?
I don't know. I feel like it's very weather confused out. Some days I can wear shorts, some days I need a heavy jacket. I'm just ready to be in one weather in one season for good.
Literally. This is so ridiculous.
1 million people have checked into Standing Rock on Facebook in solidarity with those protesting the pipeline. This was in response to a post claiming that doing so would protect actual protesters from surveillance by the police. The post in question went viral and over 800,000 shares on the post, but police claim that this was ineffective. The sheriff department stated that they are not monitoring these check-ins to find protesters, and it all started with just a false rumor. However, members of the online community are still doing so in an attempt to show support for the Native Americans. For the latest in campus news, let's go to Danielle Dumais.
Thanks, Savannah. Hi, I'm Danielle Dumais, and this is What's Up AU. Here are some upcoming events everyone should look out for. On Monday, November 7th, join the Sexual Assault Working Group in Let's Formal from 8 to 9:30 p.m. for a town hall presentation on sexual assault prevention and response on AU's campus. Dr. Jane Palmer will be talking about the preliminary results from the 2016 Empower AU program, and a discussion will follow. Tuesday, November 8th is election night. The School of International Service is hosting a viewing party at 7:30 p.m. in the atrium with refreshments, live viewing, networking, and a photo booth. Make sure to tune in for this very exciting election. On Wednesday, join the Kogod Center for Career Development from noon to 1 p.m. in the Kogod Student Lounge for their undergrad workshop on breaking into the consulting industry. If you're interested in learning more about what a consulting career would be like, this could be a great event to check out. Also on Wednesday, the Literature Department is hosting author James Hannaham in the Abramson Family Founders Room in the SIS building. Hannaham is the 2016 winner of the Penn Faulkner Award for Fiction and will be doing a public reading of his work at 8 p.m. On Thursday, the Center for Congressional and Presidential Studies will be hosting a panel discussion to examine the election results in MGC 203 through 205 from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Also on Thursday, the AU Student Art Program is presenting Martha Wilson for a public gallery talk in the Katzen Center Museum from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Martha Wilson is a pioneering feminist artist and the founder and director of Franklin Furnace, which is a New York-based nonprofit arts organization. On Friday, November 9th, in honor of Veterans Day, a ceremony will be held on the quad from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. to commemorate U.S. military veterans. Also on Friday, if you're craving a late-night snack, stop by Anderson Hall, where the group Students Helping Honduras will be selling pizza to fundraise for schools in Honduras from 11 p.m. until 2 a.m. On Saturday, check out the women's volleyball team versus Loyola University from 2 to 4 p.m. And later that night, be sure to catch the AU Symphony Orchestra in the Abramson Family Recital Hall from 8 to 10 p.m. as it kicks off its season with a wide variety of great works. That's it for this week. I'm Danielle, and this has been What's Up AU.
Thanks, Danielle. Did you hear the news that the Westboro Baptist Church is coming to campus on November 11th?
No, but for what?
Apparently they're coming to protest because we're too transgender friendly on campus.
What an opinion.
I know. It'll be really interesting to see how the AU community comes together to protest their protest.
I might actually have to partake in this protest. That's it for ATV News this week. Be sure to like us on Facebook and to follow us on Twitter. I'm Nadia Slocum.
And I'm Savannah McCann. Thanks for watching.